Good morning everyone, welcome back. In today's video we are going to start the budgeting series. Before we get started, I do want to go over a few things. This can seem really complicated. It can seem very intense to implement a system like I am going to share in this series. I don't want that to happen because it's really not. It's very easy. It takes a little bit of upfront homework to get started, and we are going to start with that homework in today's video. I don't know how many videos there are going to be in this series, so what I want to suggest is that you just bear with me. Try to wait until all of the videos come out before you ask a ton of questions. There is a good chance that the answer will lie in one of the upcoming videos that is going to branch off of this. There is still going to be other videos that are going to come in between. I am not going to have every single budgeting video come consecutively. I still try to get other content out. So I just ask that you please be patient. I'm going to take my time and try to make this as easy as I can for all of you. Let me also just share with you, this system works. It is tried and true, and anybody who has implemented it has found substantial and incredible results from doing so. This system can get you out of debt, and it can get you to a point of financial freedom at a very young age. We've talked about goal setting. We've talked about the MTO formula. I will have those videos below, but you should have it be your goal that you have financial freedom, and you have it as early as you can. And I am here to help provide for you some of the tools that it takes to get there. This is for anybody, whether you're single or married. Anybody can do this. Don't complicate it. Just follow the steps and you will have it in no time. Let me also say that if you feel like you are late to the party because of your age, just remember you are never too late. But I will encourage you youngsters out there that are in your 20s, even your teens if you're watching this, your 30s, the earlier that you start to do some of the methods that I am going to share throughout this series, the better you are going to be later on. One of the ultimate goals that I have, and my husband does as well with our children, is we want to see them be more successful than we were. So everything that I talk about are the things that we share with our children, the things that we encourage them to do now, even prior to being married, and something that they can continue to implement once they are married and have their own family. If they choose to use the system, they do. If they don't, that will be their call. But I can assure you that if you do, you're going to find some huge results. Now, let me also say that you don't have to be a computer whiz. I am a far cry from a computer anything. I'm a computer novice, and I don't ever see that changing. So I do use a computer to keep track a lot of my budgeting, but not solely the computer, but a lot of it is because I am on the computer a lot. So I do keep a folder, as you can see right here, on my desktop titled Budgeting. This is where I keep all of our paperwork, but bear in mind you do not need to do that. Another method that you could use is a binder. Here is an example of a binder that my husband and I use as a tool when we are working with other couples to help them implement this system. So bear in mind it's going to be whatever works for you. You can keep all of your resources in here, but the important thing is that you have the resources. Some of the other things that you are going to need: a plastic zip pouch just like this one here. I do have these linked below. They come in, I believe, a 5-pack, but believe me, there are a lot of uses for something like this. The other thing that I do like is it has the holes down here at the bottom, so you could put this right inside your binder. You are also going to need envelopes, but you could also use snack size Ziploc baggies like this as well, or use whatever you want. It really doesn't matter. It's more about what you're going to do with these that is going to make the biggest difference. You are also going to need your family calendar. I know, what does that have to do with budgeting? It has a lot to do with budgeting. Actually pulling last year's calendar would be very useful because then you have the whole year. So I think this year's calendar and last year's calendar, hopefully you kept it. If you've been watching me and listening to all of my advice, you would have that calendar not too far away because you know there are a lot of things that you are going to reference back to on that. I know Christmas is already passed, but you are also going to want to dig out that Christmas planner because there's going to be information in here that you are going to need to be able to do this system. Let me share that I start out right with a Word document. You can use whatever you want. My husband actually has all of the same components, all of the same documents that I am going to share, but he does his in Excel. Well, I'm not good on Excel, so I just do a Microsoft Word document. Do what works for you. It isn't a competition. It really doesn't matter. This isn't about impressing anybody else. Find what works for you. If pen and paper works for you, use pen and paper. None of those little things matter. Like I had mentioned, I keep my folder and all of my documents on my desktop on my computer. If you have a binder, let's take a look at how this is going to be set up. This is just a 1/2-inch binder. I do have one linked below. I did put the little zip pouch in the back, as you can see. There's not going to be a lot of papers in here, but you can add in whatever you want. You could put extra envelopes in here, however you want to manage it. Because I don't really use this system except to share when we are coaching other couples or individuals, that's really the only reason this is set up like this. The pages that you are going to have in here are going to be a bills primary page. You are going to have a bills secondary page, and then you are going to have your envelope system, which is going to be a breakdown of every month. But let's take a closer look at what this looks like off of the desktop of my computer. You can see all of the different documents here, and we are going to click on the very first one, which is bills primary. What you are going to do with this particular document is you are going to lay it out exactly how I have it laid out here. You will see that we have mortgage, car payment, electricity, gas, cable, internet, so on and so forth. Those are monthly bills that are going to go out. This can vary for everybody. Maybe you don't have a car payment, you wouldn't put that in. Maybe you don't go to church and you wouldn't have church tithing, you wouldn't put that in. The important thing is that you recognize and you find out, even if you have to go through past statements or go through your banking app, whatever you need to do, you find out what your monthly bills are going to be. You will see that in our family, our water bill comes every 2 months. The other thing that we have is car insurance, and that comes every 6 months. We also have some annual bills that go out. We have association dues for the neighborhood that we live in, and we also have car registration that comes around 1 time a year. Again, folks, this is going to be tailored to you. So you are going to have to do some legwork. If you don't know what these are, it will not take you long because you're already used to paying these bills and you're used to these people taking your income. Your paycheck's always gone. Where do you think it's going? Well, we're going to find out. Some other bills to take into consideration that maybe some of you have and maybe some of you don't are credit cards, student loans, second mortgages. If you pay for your own health care or you pay for your own life insurance, do you have a child in, let's say, a travel sport and you have children's sports fees and that's a monthly expense or monthly lesson fees for something? What about orthodontic work? Are you set up on a monthly payment schedule for that? Those are the things that you are going to want to pay attention to. This is going to be tailored for you individually. After you type in or write out every single payment that you have, which again is going to be your primary bills, you're going to put next to that what that monthly amount is, or what that every 2-month amount is, or what that every 6-month amount in. You catch me. Then you're going to put another number to the right of that, and that is going to be the amount that is going to come out from every single paycheck. If you get paid bi-monthly, like we do, you're going to divide, let's say, that $1,200 mortgage payment divided by 2, which is going to be $600 per paycheck. Wouldn't that be nice to have a $1,200 mortgage payment? Let me know how that feels. Some of these numbers are not accurate. This is personal information, so it's nice to have. Some of these are accurate actually, but not all of them. The mortgage payment is not accurate. I can share that with you. Anyway, I think you can kind of see where I'm going. If you get paid every single week, obviously the amount to the right of what the actual payment is going to vary. You will have to figure this out for yourself. Now let's move on to our secondary primary bills. These are the ones that a lot of people don't plan for. A lot of people get the primary bills paid for and then they forget about the secondary bills, or they don't set aside the proper amount, and what happens is they end up not being able to cover all of the secondary bill expenses. Next thing you know, they're having to charge things. And that is the beauty with this system, is that is what we want to eliminate. Some of the secondary bills that come out monthly are going to be things like groceries, gas, if you have a house cleaner, dry cleaning services. If you're taking clothes to the dry cleaners, maybe you have a business job and you need to go to the dry cleaners. Do you get regular car washes? Are you planning for those car washes, or are you just winging it? Well, how's that working for you? What about car maintenance? What's going to happen when you need new tires because of those Michigan potholes? Let me know how that's working for you. Hair care. Ladies, you know the expense that comes with our care. Are you planning for it? If you're somebody who goes and gets your nails done every couple weeks, what are you allocating for that? What about lawn care and snow plowing? What you're going to want to do is put all of that information in there. Other ones to consider would be child care or pet care. Maybe you have that. Again, everything is going to be tailored to your household individually. It's going to be the same concept. You're going to put in the amount that you spend monthly for each of these things. At first, you might not really know what you're spending for groceries. You might not know what you are spending for gas. Maybe what you need to do is go back and look in your debit account and see, what did I spend the last month? What did I spend the month prior to that? If you're charging it, maybe you want to look at that credit card statement. Give it a couple months, make sure you're keeping your receipts and documenting everything so that you can wrap your head around this and start to know what that number is. Also bear in mind there are going to be other times of the year that you could be spending more on some of those items. Let's say you travel during the summer months and you're spending more on gas. You're going to want to allocate for that. Maybe you host a couple parties throughout the year, your grocery bill is going to go up and you're going to want to allocate for that. This is going to be the same type of concept where you can see to the right of the number, you're going to have how much needs to either stay in your account or goes into an envelope. As you can see where it says groceries and gas, for my husband and I, we choose to leave that money in the account, but we know we cannot touch that money. That money is only to be used for groceries or gas. We'll also see that some of these have the word envelope next to it. That means that when you go to your bank or your credit union or whatever your financial institution is, when you get paid and pull your money out to go in the envelopes, you are going to know what is going to be pulled out. The next assignment that I would like you to do during this first series of getting started with budgeting is what I call the envelope system with the monthly breakdown. Now this is going to take some time, it's going to take some thought, and it's going to take pulling out this calendar right here. Or another thing that could be helpful is, let's say in your planner you have an important dates, big events and happenings page that is broke down by every single month. Maybe that is where you keep everybody's birthday. These are things that you are going to have to resource because they are going to help you plan ahead, because failing to plan is planning to fail. You want to plan ahead so that you have the money, and this is going to eliminate from you pulling out the plastic. And when I say plastic, I don't mean the debit plastic. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the credit card plastic. As you will see, we have every single month, and underneath of every single month, you need to put what expenses are going to take place in that month. You can see for ours, my husband's birthday was in January. You can also see that we do a family vacation every January. Well, that's pretty pricey, and it even makes it worse when it's coming the month after Christmas. Then we go into the next month, you will see that we have Valentine's Day in there, we have a couple birthdays in there, and for some of these I have the amount that we spend next to it. This is the communication to myself so that I am planning ahead with the envelope system and pulling money out. You'll see we go on to March, April, same thing. Are you thinking about summer signups? If your children are in like sports, like let's say a junior golf league or a swim team or something like that, a lot of times in the spring you'll have registration and there's a big expense that comes with it. If you're purchasing suits or having to purchase gear, it can be awfully expensive. A lot of people don't think about it. They're not planning ahead. We could continue to go into every single month and you will see there's different events, there's holidays, there's birthdays. You will also see that in November, I'm planning for the Sephora VIB sale. That is when I can get 20% off and I do a big stock up then. Well, I plan way in advance for that because I know myself, I might not have $500-600 laying around. So I plan well in advance. By going back and looking at everything that is on this document here, every pay period, I always know that I can start filling envelopes way ahead of time. You will also see that in December, we have a really big Christmas and birthday party. I know what that Christmas and birthday party expense is. One of the reasons for that is I have the Christmas planner where I document the price of everything, and that helps me plan for the following year. December is an expensive month. We definitely celebrate our wins. We go out with a couple different couples and we spend quite a bit, but we plan all year for that and we don't use plastic. We don't use a credit card to pay for that. We may use plastic, but it's going to be debit because a lot of times what we do, because we prefer to use our debit card, is we put the money back into our account. So let's say we're going to go out to dinner in December with Kelly and Amy, and I have allocated $250 for that evening out. Well, I already have it in the envelope because I've been pulling money out months in advance to pay for that. Gradually, a little bit each check, if you do the math, you'll be able to figure out how to do that. Then, a couple days before we actually go out, I will put that money back in the account, and then when we actually go out, we will just use our debit card. Now, every once in a while, yeah, you may go a little bit over, but if you're living your life like this and you know where your money's going, again, we all know that if we're not managing our money or our time and our money are going to manage us. We all know that. It's you know, who's in control? That's the thing. Who's in control? Who's in control of your time? You are. Who's in control of your money? You are. If you don't have a system, if you don't have a budget that you're working out of, believe me, you know you are being controlled by your money or your time. Again, folks, the purpose here is I don't want this to be confusing. So I'm going to leave you hanging, but I'm really not, because you have a huge assignment and a huge task ahead of you to get prepared for video number 2. This was a long video. We really only covered just the beginning, but you have to start with the basics to be able to move on to the next step. The next step is going to be the envelopes. And we're going to go over a lot more stuff with that. Again, keep your questions to a minimum, because if you're getting ahead, that's not going to help me out. Let me show you the process, and when we're all done with the series, that's when you can open up the questions. But my goal is that I can, throughout this process, teach you the methods and the concept. If you're in a relationship and you feel like you're on one end of the spectrum and he's on the other end, or vice versa, try to come together. A lot of times it is one person that is manually paying the bills. One person usually is more dominant. There's no question. Most households are not going to be like my husband and myself. We are both plugged in together. I manage all the envelopes. He manages all the electronic part, but we are always in communication and we both always know where our money's going. So I think the important thing is the communication is there with your significant other or your spouse. You get them on board. You don't make either party feel bad. That's not going to get you closer to your goals. If you're constantly battling, you have to put your heads together, not butt heads. Butting heads isn't going to accomplish anything with getting you out of debt and for having financial freedom. So I hope this was helpful. I look forward to the second video. We're going to go even deeper with each one, and before you know it, you'll have it all down. Don't forget, Everything that I talked about that's linkable will be linked below, like the binder, the zip pouches. You can pick up the envelopes, whatever, any place. Get going on creating the documents that you need to. Don't sweat it. You can do this. I know you can. Do it on a computer, do it on paper, whatever. Grab a calculator. Who cares? Get the job done. Get the research done. Have it all together. Come back and we'll move on to step 2. Again, anything I'm wearing also will be linked below. I actually even included my makeup details today. So if any of you want that stuff, sometimes it's nice to add that in. All right, there you go. Budgeting. Let's get started. And that's exactly what we're doing. So I will see you soon in the next video. Take care.